Hey guys, hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? It is Friday Eve, it's Thursday night. Do me a favor, check in, let me know where you are watching from. Let me know what city and state you are watching from. Also, let me know what your status is. Are you in school? What is your status? I'm not going to be on here long tonight, guys, because I have something to do at 8, but I wanted to go live and I wanted to let you guys know. I was initially supposed to have a study session this Saturday, but I have moved it to I was about to say September to Saturday, May 16th. And actually, I hadn't even hit the live for Instagram yet. Let me make sure I go live over here on Instagram too. But I initially was going to go live on. I was initially supposed to do the study session on this Saturday, but I ended up changing it to um okay, hold on one second. Let me see. Why can't I see? I need to be able to see. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, let me exit out of this. Let's see. Okay, this is better. All right, I see you guys checking in. Let's see. Carrollton, Georgia. Georgia, is that Jay Jordan? So wasted. Hey guys, I finished school and my test is scheduled for May 11th. Let's see who else is here. Dr. Snoopy Dog, San Antonio, Texas. Oh, I take my exam tomorrow. Good luck. So for everybody that's about to take your test, good luck to you guys. Make sure you have the test plan. That's you guys know that is my number one tip. Download the test plan. So whatever test you're taking, make sure you download the test plan for the test you are taking and use it as a guide. Hey, Instagram folks, I see that it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Tina, from Russell Springs, Kentucky. Hey Tina. Um, is that Moran Gwen over there? Johanna. Hey guys. Hey Instagram. We got Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Where my Facebook people? I see TK from Michigan, from Charlotte, Leanne, Georgia. Okay, shout out to Georgia. I'm in Georgia and I recently relocated to Georgia. Patrice from Alabama. How you guys doing? Let me know if you guys have any questions. I just wanted to check in for a few minutes. I did tell you guys that I was going to start going live more to just do these quick check-ins. For anybody that's just joining, I mentioned that the study session that I was going to do this upcoming Saturday, I have moved it to May 16th. Okay. Let me go back to my previous screen. And also, guys, don't forget, for those of you that's preparing for certification, my MA refresher course is still available. If you guys happen to have any questions and you want to ask it, you want to actually talk and ask the question, let me leave that link here in the comments for anybody that maybe want to call in. Let me give you guys that option. I'm going to put the link here. I just put the StreamYard link in the chat for anybody who maybe wants to click on the link and actually ask your question. I'm going to put it over here on Instagram too if anybody wants to click the link. Joanna says, I haven't been studying like I should. It's so much information. Yeah, it's a lot. That's why you have to break it up into sections, guys. It is a lot of information. You have to break it up into different topics. So decide, what day you're going to do, like, for an example, phlebotomy. Then what day you're going to do EKG, medical terminology, and anatomy. You have to break it up. Your administrative stuff, have a set day and time for everything. Don't try to do everything at one time. Put it all, put it into a schedule and then stick to that schedule. So AMT, yeah, same tips that I give for any other certification. All of the certifications, they ask the same type of questions. Make sure you have the study material. Make sure you download the test plan. So the AMT is RMA. You just look for, you can go to Google and just Google RMA test plan, download it and use it as a guide. Everything you already know, check it off or highlight it. And then everything that you didn't highlight that's left over, go back to your study material to make sure you know it. As you guys are taking your practice tests, make sure you are studying in between each one. You look at your score, figure out where you scored the lowest, and then study that area again before you take another one, because you should see your scores going up every single time. Let me jump back over here to Instagram. You're welcome, Johanna. You are so welcome. Let me go back up, make sure I didn't miss anything. Hey, Sandra, Danielle. Hey, guys. Taylor, as I mentioned, Chicago, already completed the CMA program, but still don't feel prepared. Yeah. So I don't know how much time you have, Taylor, and this is for anybody. If you have a little bit of time, feel free to take a month to study. I wouldn't wait too long. If you don't feel prepared and let's just say your test is scheduled for the next week and you're like, I'm not prepared. It's okay to move it out to reschedule. Give yourself about a month, but don't go too long. I wouldn't go no more than 2 to 3 months, because you want to do it while it's fresh on your mind. So just take a month and then just go topic by topic. My MA refresher course, for those of you that have it, you go module by module. And let me put that link in the chat as well. It should be in the description of the video, but just in case it's not, let me add that to the chat as well. But you just go topic by topic. Watch the videos, listen to the lesson, then take your quizzes and use the test plan. You will be all right. I'm telling you guys, all you have to do is just have a schedule, know what you're going to go over each day and what time, stick to it, and as you're going through it, everything you learn, you check it off on a test plan. Everything you don't know, now you got to go back to the study material to get that information. Hey, Jessica from Mississippi, Megan and JoJo from South Carolina. Okay, y'all. Let me check back over here with Instagram. Let's see. Let me go back up here. Patrice says, hi, I watched all of your videos. Thank you. I took my test yesterday and passed it. Congratulations, Patrice. Nyasia, I think that's how, I hope I'm saying your name correct. What advice would you give for someone that's going on externship as medical assistant? So I have a few videos on externship, guys. I think the playlist, I have actually playlists. If you go to my channel, the playlist is called externship. But basically, when you go, just, depending on the specialty that you're going into, look up some videos on some of the clinical skills you may be doing. So for an example, if you're going to be working in pediatrics, just look up some, videos on advice from dealing with kids. And I've given some of that advice on my channel myself. But just look up some videos relating to what you'll be doing. So you're going to be giving injections and, assisting with physicals and doing eye exams, hearing exams. And then let's just say you want to be working in cardiology. You want to look up some videos on EKGs and things like that. So look up some videos for the specialty you're going to. Make sure you get there early. I would rather you be out there in a parking lot waiting versus rushing and getting there late, right? Have a little notepad so you can take notes as they are showing you around the first day, explaining everything. And just make sure you're standing out. Take initiative. Always ask them, do you need help with anything else? Even when you're done, whatever you're done for the day, never sit down and just do nothing. Always ask them, what else do you need? Let them tell you to sit down. Okay. Try not to get too close to people, because you just never know, the dynamics of the office. I'll always say, just try not to get too close to the employees. I shared a story here before about one of my students who was on externship, and she happened to befriend someone that was on their way out. They were getting ready to get rid of that person, and she befriended that person. And, the office, they didn't hire her because, when they gave the feedback to us, gave the feedback to my program director, and he let us know it was because she befriended that person that was on the way out, and they weren't sure if she was going to be the same type of problem. So that's why I always say don't get too close. And like I said, show initiative, get there on time every day, take notes. Everything you do on externship, make sure you add it to your resume. So guys, for those of you that's going on externship or already on externship, everything you learn, you should already have all of your skills on your resume anyway. Everything that you learn in school should be on your resume. Add whatever you do. So let's just say tomorrow they have you doing something you maybe didn't learn in school, or maybe you did learn in school, but this is your first time doing it. Add that as a duty, your externship, add that to your resume. Even if it's only a month, 6 weeks or whatever, 8 weeks, add that to your resume as experience. And you can just put in parentheses, externship, right? Whatever the practice, the name of the practice is, medical assistant in parentheses, you could do externship, and then everything you do. And the reason why I say add it to your resume as you do it, just so you won't forget what you did. And I actually have an externship tracker, guys. Let me see. Where is the link to my externship tracker? So those of you that's on externship, check back into this video after I'm live, after I post it, because I gotta find that link. I don't think it's, if it's not in the description box already, I think I have to add it. But I have an externship tracker, and it's just something, it's just free. You can download, and it just helps you keep track of everything you were doing and learning on externship. Dr. Snoopy Dog says my practice scores range from 65 to 85, so I don't know what to expect. So that's actually really good. 80 is the goal. You guys want to have at least 80 or better on your practice test. If you started at 65 and went up to 85, you're on the right track. Now, if you got an 85 and your scores again lower, then it's something that you're missing, something that you're struggling with, that you need to be, that you need to double down on studying. So it just kind of, it's hard to say. If it's going up, perfect, you're right where you're supposed to be. But if it's going down, yeah, you need to figure out what it is that you're struggling with, that you're missing, and restudy those areas. The worst thing you can do is take another practice test without studying, because you just want to keep getting the same score. Tina on Instagram says, I'm needing some advice. I'm wanting to do MA, but what program is the best and not a lot of money and get certification fast? I'm from Kentucky. Okay, so that's a good question. You actually have to look in your area. So I forgot what city you said you're in, but you just type in your city and look for medical assistant programs in your city. And what you can do, you can type in free medical assistant programs. There are quite a few cities that have what are called workforce development programs, and these programs are free. When I just relocated to Georgia from DC, but we had that program in DC, and that was the program that I was recently teaching for. It's a workforce development. They went for free. Like I said, most cities have it. So just search workforce development, medical assistant. And if they don't have for free, at least maybe you can find something that is, cheaper. And then they have accelerated courses that's hybrid. So hybrid meaning you do it online, but you do get your in-person days for your clinicals. So you can look that up too, Tina. So hopefully that was helpful. So, and this is for anybody that is trying to figure out which, what type of MA program I should do that is not going to cost me a lot of money. Well, first look for workforce development. You can check community colleges as well, because with community colleges, they have, and this is with any medical assistant school, really, you can apply for grants and stuff. But start with workforce development, community college, and then of course other MA programs in your area. And then also your local governments as well. I've had students that went to school for free simply because they were getting assistance from the government. So if anybody is watching and you happen to get assistance from the government in any type of way, you may qualify for help with school as well. So this is for anybody that may get any type of assistance, no matter what it is, you may qualify as well. So just check your cities. For those of you that's watching and looking for something, just check your city and your county. Let me see. My test is scheduled on the 27th of May. Good luck with that, everybody. Oh, and just to remind you guys, for those that's just joining, that my next study session is going to be on the 16th. So it was going to be this Saturday, but it's going to be on the 16th. So to the person that's taking that test on the 27th and anybody else that's taking it after the 16th, you can feel free to sign up for the study session. I'll put that link here, bookwithmissk.com, and just choose the 30-minute session. Not 30-minute, I see 30 something on my screen. That's why I said 30-minute. I'm sorry. Choose the virtual group study session is what you want to choose when you go to bookwithmissk.com. Let me put it in Instagram chat as well. www.bookwithmissk.com. Let's see. I thought I failed because I felt the test was hard, but like you said, I knew the content of yes, I gotta, yes, I gotta highlight this one. Yes, remember, focus on the content, not just the questions. Thank you. I really want to get hired in it. I hope so too, Niaja. You're welcome. I hope you get hired. What kind of specialty is it? Let me see. Did you tell me up here? No, you didn't tell me. What kind of specialty is it? And for those of you that's going on externship, that is the goal. You want to get hired. This is why you want to show up every day. You want to stand out. I'm gonna tell you guys, it's been a long time since I was on externship, but I still remember like it was yesterday. I remember I was there every day on time. They were telling me how well I was doing. They even started telling me, I think we want to keep you. When they started telling me that, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to do well now. And then I think they ended up, I can't remember if they had just got rid of somebody or they were getting rid of somebody, but I just remember, and I wasn't the only extern in my office. There were 2 other ladies there at the same time, and they were from different schools. And I stood out. I stood out. I made sure I stood out. And so, out of those 3 ladies, I was the only one that got hired, and we were all from different schools. So, and if they're not hiring, guess what? Get a letter of recommendation. You still want to do well. And one thing that I want to remind you guys, I've said it before, and I'm probably going to do a short video on this as well. But one thing I recommend for those of you on externship, if you get hired, even if it's an office or a specialty you didn't necessarily want to work at, if they want to hire you, take the job. Get the experience, and while you are working, just look for another job. I've had students that tell me they're not paying as much as I wanted. That's okay. Just still take it if you can, if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense and it's just way too low and you're going to find yourself putting more into it. Like I had one student, she would have been paying for parking and all of that. It just wasn't worth it. And so I get that. But if it's a specialty where you didn't necessarily want to work in, or they're not paying as much, but it's something you can work with, just take the job, get the experience, and then just be looking for another job. Do me a favor, guys, if you haven't already, like the video. It helps it to get pushed out, to other people. That's the an easy and free way to help the channel. So those of you on YouTube, do me a favor and like it. I think you can hype the video too while it's live. So if you see that hype option, make sure you like it. Make sure you click that as well. Yes, your externship does count as experience. Yes. And that's a good question. Someone asked that the last time I went live, and I made it into a short. It absolutely does. Everybody listening to me right now, just know your externship is experience. You add it to your resume. Everybody should have your resume on a Google Doc. If you have Gmail, do me a favor. Let me know in the chat if you have Gmail. If you have Gmail, do me a favor. Just type in the chat, I have it, or Gmail. Just let me know for those of you that have Gmail. For those of you that have a Gmail, you have what's called Google Drive, and your resume should be on that. Your resume should not just be on your computer because it can shut down. Anything can happen. It can, crash or whatever. Your resume should be on your Google Drive. You should be able, and you can even access your Google Drive on your phone. It's an app as well. Everything that you do, you should be able to add it right to your resume in real time. That's the great thing about Google Drive, is because as you're adding to it, it automatically saves. I've had students lose their externship, lose work because a laptop or computer crashed. That doesn't happen with Google Drive. All of your important stuff should be stored on it. So as you're doing today, I'm an externship, I did EKG. Let me add resume. Let me add that to the duties that I did on this job or on this externship site. Absolutely, it counts. How do you get an externship? So the number one way is through your school. So if you have a school that requires externship, they will place you. If you're at a school that does not require externship, they may have you may not have to do externship, or they may have you find your own. But if they're not placing you, most likely you don't have to do externship. So yeah, you get it from your school, or sometimes even if I will tell you guys this, if you are at a school and they place you on externship and they want to place you somewhere where you don't necessarily want to be, let's say they want to put you in GYN and you want to be in cardiology, you can always request to find your own. The thing is, it's going to may take a little while because they have to get in contract with them, you know, and because they have to sign a contract. It's, you know, they have to, because that office will be liable will be liable for you. So it's just some things behind the scene they have to take care of. But usually you get it from your school, or you may have to find one on your own. I want help for my tests, CCMA. So you can watch my videos on YouTube. So there's a few different ways. Someone says they want help with your test, and this is for anybody. If you need help with your certification, you can watch my certification videos on YouTube. Also my MA refresher course. It is linked in the description box of this video, and it's also in the comments. Or you can also sign up for the virtual group study session that we're going to be doing on May 16th. It's via Zoom, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or you can do that. So those are the ways in which I can help you. Naija says, I'm nervous because I was on leave and I just returned back April 23rd, and I've been trying to refresh my brain. Oh, I get it. I'm in an injections module now and have EKGs next. I've been trying to get prepared. You want to, you know, I get it. It sounds like you're on the right track. I mean, just the fact that you're here and you're asking about it, you'll be fine. Just make sure you're watching videos on it. I always recommend watching videos. So that way, when you go, like you say, you're doing EKG next. So just make sure you're watching some videos on it. So that way, when you go in, you already know what you're going to be doing. You already prepared. I finally caught you live. I'm glad you caught me live. Welcome. Hey, Jasmine. I'm doing online, and my externship is after I pass my test. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Okay, so Johanna says her externship is after she passes her test. Okay, because somebody asked me, do they have to do one first? It just kind of depends on the school. So that's interesting that you have to pass your test first. But let me come back over here to Instagram and check in, see if I got, oh yeah, sorry guys, on Instagram, Cookies said I passed my CCMA. Congratulations, Cookies passed today. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Take my NHA in about 5. Leah says I'll take my NHA in about 5 weeks. Where can I find? So you can find it at, oh, I didn't put the link in on Instagram. Let me see. Let me put the link on Instagram. My study guide, it's at marefreshercourse.com. But I can put the link in here. I'm sorry, Instagram. I'm just missing out on y'all. That's because I have a separate screen for Instagram. So I keep missing out on Instagram. But let me put it in the chat, Lee. I got you. I just put it in the chat, Instagram. What should I expect from clinical rotation? So your clinical, your externship, you're going to be work depending on the practice. It depends on the practice you go to. You're going to be, it's like you're working, but you're just getting hours. You're not getting paid. So that's what it is. You're just going to work. So, and what you can expect, it just kind of depends on what specialty you're working in, but pretty much they're going to be, you know, training you. You're going to probably watch them a little bit, and they'll have you come in and do some as well. So you'll be working with actual patients. All right, let me come back over here to YouTube and Facebook. Let me scroll back up. Let's see. Externship after iPad. How do I go? Oh, if I want to read. Oh, IV. Hey, honey. On Facebook says if I want to. So I'm not sure about that, honey. I do have a young lady that I had on my channel, Crystal. She specializes in that. I'm not even sure. Phlebotomy. What is it? Phlebotomy. Look up. Let me hold on one second, honey. I'm looking it up right now on my phone, because I want you to go to Instagram and look her page up and let her know I referred you. Let me see really quickly. So phlebotomy _bureau. So let me put it in the chat. This is for anybody who is has questions about the IV certification and all of that, programs and all of that. She specializes in that. So I'm putting it in the chat. Phlebotomy _bureau. I'll put it on Instagram as well. It's probably going to end up tagging her to the video by me putting that on Instagram. But check in with her, honey. She's on Instagram. Her name is Crystal. You can let her know I referred you when you reach out. As far as giving shots, if you want to get retrained on that, I always tell people to look to contact your school. I don't know how long you've been out of school, but you can always contact your school that you went to and see if they allow you to come back in. Every school I worked at, we allow former students to come back and practice. So if your school allows that, you can do that. And then you may have to, if they don't, you may have to just go on Amazon and get some, and you may have to just get some, the practice material. I have an Amazon store and I have some of that stuff in my Amazon store. Let me see if I can find the link. Yeah, I know I'm dropping a lot of links. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm just trying to give y'all all the resources. Let me see. Amazon. I had to start my store all over. Hopefully I still have it. I had to create everything all over again. Let me see. I'm going to put a link to my Amazon store right in the chat for you guys. But I have in my Amazon store the little suture removal kit, so you can practice on that. Phlebotomy arm. I may have to add that again since I had to redo my store. Let's see. Where's the link to my storefront? Let's see. View profile. I know I'm dropping a lot of links for you guys, but I just want to make sure that I have it. And my computer's moving slow. Can you guys hear me well? I just want to make sure I'm not breaking up. My service is bad in this house. I done moved to Georgia and my service is terrible. Okay, here's my Amazon storefront. And check out, it's called MA Medical Assistant Must-Haves. Let's see. Someone says I'm interested. If you're talking about the study session, it's bookwithmissk.com. I don't know yet. Okay, so you don't know starting the process. She said once we done with all the paperwork, she's going, okay. Well, check back in with me, Niaja. Just let me know once you do know. Just check back in. Okay, I see you guys that were checking in for Gmail. Yeah, for Gmail, for those of you that have Gmail, you should be utilizing your Google Drive. Congratulations in your dreams. Just passed yesterday. Would an introvert be better suited? Let me come back over here. Would an introvert be better suited to do clinical administrative assistant instead of medical assistant? I can't really say yes or no. Depends on how much of an introvert they are. If they're so much of an introvert that they want that, you feel like you're not going to be able to perform clinical skills. I mean, because even as an introvert on the office side, you still have to deal with patients because you got to check them in, check them out, make appointments, you on the phone, so there's really no way to not deal with patients unless you want to work on maybe the coding side or the, billing and coding side, and you're working in the back office, not dealing with patients at all. But with either one, you are going to do, you are going to be, given, you are going to be, what am I trying to say? You are going to be dealing with patients, basically. Now, if you're someone that does not like to deal with blood, bodily fluids, definitely I would say do administrative, right? If you do not want to assist a provider, if you don't want to do anything hands-on, definitely. But I wouldn't necessarily say being an introvert, being administrative is necessarily better, because either way, you're going to be, dealing with patients. And then, like I said, it depends on the level of that, because for me, I'm somewhat of an introvert, but I'm kind of both. What do they call it? Ambivert. I'm kind of both, because I am somewhat of an introvert where I know you guys, you hear me on live, you hear me on my videos and all of that, but I'm not really an extrovert. Like somebody told me I seem like an extrovert. I'm not. I'm an introvert, but I can be extroverted as well. So I'm both. And I know people that's introverted to a point where they don't want to talk to nobody. In that case, you don't want to work in the medical field at all, unless, like I said, you just on the billing side, or coding side, not talking to nobody. But that was a good question. Let me come back over to Instagram. Do you do one-on-one help or group sessions? Yeah, group sessions I do. So bookwithmissk.com. That on the screen is what you see. That's the next group study session at bookwithmissk.com. So yes, I do do group study sessions. Now, one-on-one, not really. I mean, if you go to bookwithmissk.com, you'll see there's an option for a 15-minute phone call, but I don't really promote those anymore because I don't really have always had the capacity. But if you can see something on there and you want to book it, that's fine. But the group sessions are actually better because you can get me a little longer. Whereas the phone calls, one-on-one, I don't really have the capacity to do a lot of one-on-one like I used to. It was a lot. The one-on-ones became too much. Let me put the MA Q&A. And just to remind you guys again, for anybody that is interested in learning how to start a business or make money outside of the clinic, don't forget about the Beyond the Clinic ebook as well. I wanted to remind you guys about that. Let me look on my YouTube app. Let me see something really quickly so I can see. Let me see something really quick. All right, let's see. Excuse the noise in the back. Y'all probably hear the train going by. How many times are you allowed to take the test? It depends on which test. So I think with the CMAA, AAMA, I think you only get 3 altogether, and that's it. You got to do another program. With the CCMA, once you take it, if you fail, you have to wait 30 days to take it again. And then when you take it again, if you fail 2 more times, you have to wait a year to take it again. So, and I forgot what it is for RMA, but I know the CMA, AMA, you only can take that 3 times, and they like, listen, you need to go back to school. And then the CCMA, you could take that up to 4 times. But that after that 3rd time, they make you wait a year. And I cannot remember what the RMA is. I take the RMA. I'm going to purchase your modules as well for my studying. Thank you for your time. You're so welcome. So same advice that I just gave for the CCMA. So I just gave advice. So all of the certifications are the same. So for those of you that's just joining and need study tips, I have a playlist, the CCMA. It says CCMA, but it's for all of the certifications. They all ask the same type of questions. But I just gave some tips earlier in. So you can check out the playlist, study tips, or when this video posts, I think you can rewind back here too. But I just gave some tips earlier in the video as well. But they all ask the same type of questions. So my advice for the RMA versus, matter of fact, that was the test we were talking about earlier, the RMA. My advice for the RMA, the CCMA, whatever, none of them differs. It's all the same. Only thing that would be different is the test plan you're going to download. So if you're taking the CCMA, you download the CCMA test plan. RMA, you download the RMA test plan, but it's all the same. Let's see. Dr. Snoopy Dog said, I like that. Phlebotomy is my worst skill. I need practice. Phlebotomy, I'm going to tell you guys, phlebotomy and blood pressure are the most challenging skills you're going to learn. And guess what? Practice makes perfect. So, and it's always going to be practice. Phlebotomy is one of those things where you learn how to do it in school. You do well enough to pass the course, but you're not going to be a pro until you've been doing it for a while, so it's okay. Just practice, practice, practice. And if you're working somewhere where you're drawing blood, you're going to get even better. And even then you may still run into somebody that you were not able to get. It happens. I've been drawing blood over 20 years. And I can still run into somebody whose blood I can't get for whatever reason. And so just continue to practice. Naja says, is working a computer system hard at first? Depends on which one. Yeah, some can be more challenging than others. In my experience, the best, and I'm assuming you're meaning the EHR system or EMR system. It just depends. It can be challenging at first. And then there are some that are more complex. Like I think Epic is the best. It is challenging at first, but once you get the hang of it, you're not going to want to use any other computer system, any other EHR. All righty, let's see, guys. I'm gonna get off here in a few minutes. Let me get these last few questions in. Let me come back over to Instagram really quickly. Is it possible to get an associate's degree in medical assistant? And if so, is it worth getting? I think it is, yeah. Because you are actually getting credit. So if you want to later on further your degree, you can. Absolutely. My very first school that I taught at, I started teaching back in 2011. And that school, it was they did both. They did the diploma and they did the degree. So students that were getting a degree, their program was 18 months. And the degree program, it includes, English and math and psychology, every other prerequisite that you would take for any other program. You get all of that, and you get credits that you can then transfer into nursing or any other degree you want to get into. So absolutely, it's worth getting. And I've seen people say that is not, but I highly disagree, especially if you want to further your career. Now, if you're someone and, all you want to do is medical assistant, you don't want to do anything else, you're like, listen, I just want to work as a medical assistant, then you may just want to do the diploma, right? You just may want to do the certification program, and that's fine too. But as far as whether it's worth it, absolutely. How do you adjust a learner to communicate with patients, with customer service in general? This is something that, it'll get better with time. You're going to be shy. If this is your first time working with patients, you may be shy and nervous at first, but this is why you practice in school too. This is why, this is why you go to school. This is why, and some people, they like to take a shortcut and not go to school. But these are some of the things that we work on in school, learning how to communicate, how to, certain things you should say or shouldn't say. Now, whether you are compassionate and empathetic, those are things that are just in you. They're either in you or they're not. So as far as adjusting, it's just going to be practice, really. You can practice with someone, watch videos. I highly recommend watching videos. I have a video on my channel, a patient intake video, an example of, bringing a patient back to get them ready for the doctor, asking them questions you need to ask them, but just some practice. Let's see. I'm going to answer a few more questions, guys, and I'm going to get ready to get off here because I have a YouTube live I'm supposed to be watching right now, but I'm assuming they're not starting on time. I'm assuming they're not going to get into the meat of everything until, they're not going to jump right into it. So I got a couple more minutes. Y'all asking some good questions tonight. Oh my goodness, what is a lifetime advice to keep as a medical assistant? Wow, this is a really good question, Johanna. Wow. Some lifetime advice to keep as a medical assistant. I would say make sure you know that you matter. You matter as a medical assistant. There are some people who will make you feel like, medical assistants are, beneath whoever, but just know that you are the heart of the medical office. You matter, and I appreciate doctors and other providers like nurse practitioners just valuing us because we are valuable. We are responsible for getting the patient ready for the provider. Our job is also to help make the provider's job easier. So I would just say, just remember, you matter, and also remember your why. So when things get hard and difficult, and for those of you that's still in school, when it gets hard and you got so many things to do at one time, just remember why you wanted to become a medical assistant. When you're actually working and you're tired and you got 25 patients within an hour, that's not going to happen. I'm just playing with you. But, when it's just overwhelming, when you have patient after patient after patient, just remember your why you're there. And it's up and down. Sometimes you have those moments and sometimes you don't, enjoy those quieter, slower moments, and let them help you prepare for the busier moments. I'm pretty sure there's so much more to add to that. Anybody else got anything to add to that? Leave it in the comments if you do, especially those of you that's been in the field already for a while, with some lifetime advice to keep as a medical assistant. That is so good. Such a good question. Let's see, Valerie. I see your comment. I'm trying to put it on the screen. Valerie says, I purchased your refresher study guide today. I haven't scheduled my certification yet. I'm super nervous. It is normal to be nervous, guys, but you got the refresher course. I'm glad you have it. Just make sure as you're going through it, as you go through each module, you are going through the test plan as well. So in the refresher course, when you go to resources, it's all the way at the end of the course. There's resources, and I have the test plan. And when you first click on it, you're going to see multiple test plans. You want to scroll all the way down to the CCMA test plan. It's going to say NHA CCMA test plan. You download that. And as you go through each module, just check off everything you learn. So when you go through that first module, Foundation Medical Assistant, everything you learn there, you check that off on the test plan. Same thing when you go through medical terminology and anatomy, you check that off on the test plan, because you just want to make sure at the end of it all, everything on the test plan is checked off. Everything that's not checked off, you want to end up going back again and studying. So you got this. You took the right step by getting the course, watch the video, take your quiz. Anytime you need a quiz reset, just send me an email. I wish the platform allowed the quizzes to just be taken over as soon as you're done, but they don't. I don't know. They don't have that ability. So whenever you need a quiz or a test reset, or if you want the entire course, reset, just send the email. I say this all the time in your dreams. I say this all the time. Listen, y'all, this is so funny. So in your dream says you traded ambulance noises for train noises. Yes. So for those of you that don't know, I just relocated recently to Georgia from DC. And y'all, let me tell you, I lived on a busy street and the hospital was down the street. I would hear ambulance, fire trucks, police cars, so much noise, right? And then I moved down here to Georgia. I'm in the country, so quiet. But guess what I deal with? Train noises. Yes, in your dreams. That is too funny that you say that, because I say that all the time. That is so true. Not at all. I've been in this field over 20 years. I've never had to do dosage calculations at all. The doctor normally does it. Now, and I'm not going to say that you won't have to, because depending on where you work, and especially if you're in a private office and you help with that, you may have to, but I don't think it's something you actually do a lot. I've never had to do it in an office. The provider does it. They prescribe whatever they need to prescribe. Now, we do need to learn it. We need to know how to do it, but it's not really something that you're going to be doing unless, like I said, you're in a private office. And when you're in a private office, you tend to do a little bit more assisting the provider, because, you just have a little bit more autonomy. And so you may be assisting with writing prescriptions. Whereas in the bigger practice, they may not necessarily have you doing that, because bigger companies have rules against that. They don't allow medical assistants to do certain things, whereas private offices, the doctor is the boss, and they may be okay with you writing a prescription. So it just kind of depends. Y'all are asking some good questions tonight. I think this is the most questions that I have ever. I've been live so many times, y'all. This is the most questions I have ever seen. And some of the best questions. Did you have a specialty that was your favorite? I'm on Instagram now. Initially my favorite was GYN, because I love the female anatomy, y'all. I love the female body. I just feel like it is the most beautiful thing, just the way our body works. Even, pregnancy and childbirth, childbirth is literally a miracle. Pregnancy itself is a miracle. And so I love learning about the female body, and I loved working in GYN, because I loved assisting with some of the procedures. I used to work with a doctor. He even let me do like pelvic exams, and he would allow me to, even though y'all, I probably shouldn't even be sharing that, but he really allowed me to and he would allow me to look under the microscope with him, and we would see different things that was going on. We would see, yeast infections, bacterial infections, even if someone was recently sexually, you know, having sexual intercourse. We could see the sperm cells. It was just so amazing, guys. I just love GYN. In recent years, it became cardiology just because that's the specialty I still work in now. So I would say definitely GYN and then also cardiology are my favorites. Because now I've grown a special love for the heart as well. I used to avoid the heart because it just seems so hard and difficult and complex, which it is complex. But I actually working in cardiology, I learned a lot. So I love cardiology too. Let's see back over here on YouTube and trying to go back and forth, guys, because I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Let me see. Blood pressure I got down because my parents need it all the time. I love that you can practice that. So Dr. Snoopy said that I got blood pressure down because my parents need it all the time. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned this. This is a big piece of advice too for those of you that are in school or on externship or whatever. Anybody that's in school or fresh out, please be practicing on at least 3 different people every single week. Blood pressure and phlebotomy, like I said, is like the most challenging skill that you're going to be doing. So please be practicing on at least 3 different people every week. Blood pressure, pulse, and respiration, especially if you struggle. Because like I said earlier, practice makes perfect. So please, it is not, of course, if your school is not making you do it, it's obviously not mandatory, but for your own sake, just be practicing on different. So you can get used to different people too, because I noticed in class, some of my students, they would want to do the same person all the time, but I used to switch them up because when you're working in an office, you won't have the same person. You got to get used to checking different people because you want to come across some patients where they have, you know, a strong heartbeat. You're going to be able to hear it well. And then you're going to have some people that have a faint heartbeat. You're not going to be able to hear it as well or feel it as well when you're checking pulse. So I want you to do different people to get a feel for how it's going to be when you are, you know, when you're in the office. How will I know if I pass my exam as soon as I finish? So, will I know if I pass my exam? It depends. It depends. It depends on where you take it, what test you're taking. With some tests, yeah, you'll know right away. Sometimes you may have to wait a couple of days. So my students, when they come in the office and they take it, I mean, not the office, when in the school, when they take it at school, they'll know right away. But then if you go to like a PSI testing center, it may take a couple of days. So it just kind of depends. I haven't been able to pass the NCCT exam. So for anybody, somebody said I tried twice already. And I think I saw a similar, oh yeah, somebody else said I failed taking, that's the HESI exam. Okay. So anybody that has taken their exam and they did not pass it, what you want to do, you want to just look at your testing, your scores, your detailed score report. After you take your test, you get a score report and it shows you where you scored the lowest. Those are the areas you need to double down on studying because that is why you did not pass the test, because you scored too low in those areas. So you want to get that. You can get my MA refresher course if you don't already have it. That may be something that you may need to look into. Now, of course, you can pass with my videos alone. So many people, I would say actually thousands of people, guys. I've had this channel for what, 4 or 5 years now, and I've been doing these videos, and I've had thousands of people pass just from watching my videos. So that is possible. But if you're someone who has been taking your test and you're not able to pass, you may need to look into other resources. And that's one of the reasons why I did create my MA refresher course. So you may want to consider getting that. In the course, I am going over lessons. I use the test plans to create this. It's an online study guide. I used it to create that. So I'm giving you guys lessons and then practice questions, some knowledge check questions to kind of, reflect on what you just learned. And so I would definitely say maybe you want to consider that for anybody who has not been able to pass. And it's hard to say why. I don't know why you haven't been able to pass. So I've had people ask me, like, what do you think? Why am I not passing? I have no idea. I don't know why. There's no way for me to know. I just know I can tell you what to do to try to pass the next time. But there's so many different things, so many different reasons that it could be. And so it's hard for me to say. Good luck, Kingston. Kingston says I'll take my test on Monday. Let me scroll down some more. I keep saying I'm about to go, but y'all keep asking all these good questions. This is the first time y'all been asking questions the whole time. Usually, that's why it's hard for me to end it, because y'all keep popping up with good questions. Let me see. Hold on. If my program doesn't offer an externship, you may have to call around. So if your program does not offer an externship, that actually means that you most likely don't need externship to finish the program. So if they don't offer externship and you want to do one, you can call around to some offices to see if they will be willing to allow you to do externship. But really, for all of that, you can just see if they'll hire you, you know. So if they don't offer you one, then most likely you don't need it to finish their program, because you don't need externship. You need I know the RMA, for an example, to take the RMA exam through AMT, you have to have an externship. You have to have 160-hour externship. So in that case you do. But if your program is not requiring it and you're taking a CCMA, you don't need it. Good question. Jesse says, have you ever worked in a hospital as a multi-skilled tech? If so, how did you like it? Prefer that versus medical assistant? Just curious. No. Do me a favor, guys. Chime in if you ever worked in a hospital as a multi-specialty, because Jesse asked a good question. I've never worked in a hospital as multi-specialty. No, I mean multi-skilled. I've never worked in a hospital at all. I almost did years ago. A friend of mine, she was working in a hospital, but she was working in an ER, and they were hiring and she was trying to get me in there. I almost did. I'll be honest with you guys, but what stopped me at the time was because my daughter, she was so young, I would have needed, help with her in the evenings, because of when you work in a hospital, the hours are different. And so it just didn't work out for me. But I wasn't able to do it. But no, I've never worked in a hospital. But those of you that have, check in down below. Jesse wants to know, if you ever did, and if so, how did you like it? And if you prefer that over medical assistant, chime in, let us know. Let me come back over here to Instagram. Let's see. Let me finish my program. Got my certificate in July. Haven't been able to find a job. I've done quite a few videos on that, guys. You want to make sure you are studying. And I'm talking to on Instagram, guys. For those of you that's on YouTube and Facebook, you probably hear me going back and forth because I have a few people watching on Instagram. Just 3 people on Instagram right now. But anybody that is not able to pass their test, I'm sorry. Y'all, see, this is why I need to get off here. I'm tired. Y'all got me saying the wrong thing. We're talking about trying to find a job. Let me take this off. If you're having a hard time finding a job, of course, again, like I mentioned before, you want to look for some private offices in your area, print out copies of your resume and go around to those offices. Call some recruiting agencies in your area. I know it can be discouraging. I know, especially for those of you that have been searching for a long time. Trust me, I understand. It can be a full-time job, but it's like when you're trying to find a job, you really don't have a choice but to get out there and do what you got to do. So, I know it's difficult. I know it's challenging, but, we just got to try. And trust me, I get it. When I tell you guys, there was a moment in time. This was back in 2013 when I was looking for, I had stopped teaching at the school I was in. There was a lot of stuff going on with that school. And I actually left the school without having a job. That school ended up shutting down. That's a whole nother video. But I left without even having a job lined up because I just knew. I said, I've been teaching. I got all this experience. I'm going to find a new job right away. It's not going to take long, because prior to that, every interview I went on, I was pretty much getting it. So I'm like, oh, I got this. Tell me why when did I leave? I can't even remember which month I left, but I remember it took a couple of months, about 2 or 3 months to find a job. And this was even with me going out to private offices every single day. I mean, it was some days in the rain, okay? I was not driving at the time, printed out my resume. I'm going door to door, okay? And like I said, it was days where it was raining. I was not driving at the time. This was every day that I was doing this, if not every day, every other day. And I did that for about 2 to 3 months. And I finally, matter of fact, the cardiology practice that I still work for today, I got hired on my birthday. And was in 2013. So when I tell you I get it, I'm speaking from experience. When I tell you about going around to these offices, I know it's a lot, but it works. And then fast forward to some years later, when I was looking for something else, I was still teaching at the time, but I was teaching part-time and looking for a full-time job. I did it again. I went around to some private offices with my resume, did it again. Sometimes that's what you got to do. The main thing to memorize before going on externship, there's not really a main thing you need to memorize, honestly, because again, it's going to go back to the specialty that you're working for. So it's kind of hard to say. The biggest thing is just focus on, like your professionalism, getting there every day on time. And then once you find out where you're going, then you'll kind of know how you need to prepare. So there's really not one thing to memorize. But just like I said, make sure you're there early. You want to stand out, take initiative, try not to get too close to people. But there's really nothing to actually memorize. Somebody is asking again about studying, how to study. I've already given study tips, guys. Know any male MAs that are males? Are they treated any differently? So, in a lot of areas, male MAs are in high demand because they're harder to find. The majority of medical assistants, of course, are female. Healthcare in general, when it comes to nurses and MAs, are mostly female. Are they treated differently? That's a good question. I don't think generally, I don't think they are in general. I would say no, I don't think so. I don't think they're treated differently. I think if anything, I mean, not in a bad way anyway. If anything, some of them may be treated a little better, especially the ones that are preferring. I mean, I remember one of my schools, they only wanted male MAs. They didn't want the females. This one externship site we had, they only wanted males. And so I wouldn't say they're treated differently in a negative way. But definitely, I know quite a few male MAs. I had quite a few male students come through the programs I taught for. I worked with a couple. Actually, one of the male MAs at my former office, I referred to him as my son. He was like the best. He worked so hard. I used to hear him in there talking to his patients, and he would explain everything, and just so nice. And I loved him. He was my work son. Yeah, I don't think they're treated any differently. Not in a bad way anyway. Maybe a little better. You are so welcome, Johanna. Let's see. Y'all, I supposed to got off here. I'm sorry, y'all. When I'm seeing questions that are already answered, I'm going to refer you guys back to the beginning of the video. As an MA, can you get a job? Oh, wow. Can you get a job as an MA as a 17-year-old? Depends on the office. It may be in a private office, or maybe in some states where 17-year-olds are recognized as adults. I can't answer this question for certain because I know every state is different. But it depends on the practice. In the private office, definitely, if they allow it, yeah. In the bigger company, maybe not, because you have to be at least 18. You can apply for volunteer. Yep, you can volunteer hospitals, and they'll eventually hire you. Marie says you can apply Kaiser, PIH, or any local hospital on their website. Thank you for sharing that. All right, guys, I'm really going to end this. I said this already. Do me a favor, y'all. If y'all still hanging in there with me, like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, you have to exit the chat to actually like the video. Let me end Instagram. They don't left Instagram. Do me a favor, like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, you have to exit out the not like it within the chat, but actually like the video itself. And also on Facebook as well. All right, y'all. It is literally an hour now that we've been on. I'm going to get out of here and watch this YouTube live that I'm supposed to start watching at 8. And I will see you guys. I'm not going to go live tomorrow or this weekend, probably not, but I definitely will be live next week. What day and time, I have no idea because it's always just sporadic. I do not have a schedule for when I go live, because when I set a schedule, it's like it adds to my to-do list and it kind of makes me feel a little overwhelmed sometimes. That's why it's easier for me, unless it's something that I am going to schedule. Like yesterday, I scheduled a study session, but stuff like this, I have to just kind of do it when I feel like it. And let me go back up there. Amen, Johanna. God bless you too. Thank you. And same to you. All right, guys, y'all have a good evening.